So if you've read the title of this video, you'll know what's in this box. But if you can't read, that's my new rear bar, so let's open it up. I did get a little bit excited and I decided to put the lights in, but basically that's the rear bar I've gone with. It's a Raslaar rear bar, bloody kookaburras, for a Series 4 GU Patrol, aka my car, and it's freaking sick. So I was basically tossing up between the Raslaar bar and the Kinsella's bar, but I ended up going with the Raslaar because I saw this once on a Series 4 GU and that was the moment. I was like, yep, that's the bar that I want. So after eating tuna and rice and skipping a meal for about 3 months, that's how I paid for the bar. So there, let's get into assembling it. Pretty bloody excited. This has been a long time coming and I'll show you exactly why I really needed a rear bar. So the first reason is to do with this bloody barn door with the tyre on it. So there's a crack running from here all the way through, and it's almost going through the whole door. When I bought the car, it only started about there. Now having the 33 with the steely on and my bin bag with some recovery gear in it, it's managed to crack most of the way through, so that was a major factor in getting a rear bar. The second reason is how flogged out this thing is. It's only plastic, so you literally destroy it on everything. I've had the mud flaps ripped off it, so the mounts are basically gone. I can't even count how many times I've tech screwed the blade tail lights in. They're just in a shit spot. Obviously these are only for reverse, and then the rest of the light is just a dummy light. So they're your real lights and they're important, and you can't drive home with no rear light after you've gone out and down the tracks. And the third reason is that I'd be lying to you to say that the rear bars don't look sick, and I'm keen to piss off this stupid plastic one. Plan of attack: take the wheel bag off, take some bolts off, rip the bar off, throw it over there somewhere, and start putting the new one on. Let's go. I didn't realise this was connected. Oopsies. This is where we're at so far. Just undoing the last bolt on this little trim piece. I've got a couple here, and then I've gone ahead and done the underside as well. I've obviously hit a rock here and it's bent the tab up for the trailer plug, but there is one behind there, and then I believe I have to take off the mud flaps, and I have no idea where we go from there. So I'm pretty sure everything's off. Time to kick it out. That's what happens with the lights. See you later. So I've still got all these bits on the car, so I'm pretty sure they have to go. That middle thing has to go, and it has to look something like this, pretty naked. So I finished up last night by taking the bar off and the little skin that was over it as well. So now we're just left with the bare bar, the cables hanging down. So while I've got heaps of room over here with this wing off, I'm gonna go ahead and sort out this exhaust. I've been meaning to do this for a while, smashed on a rock, and it just looks a bit funny. So I think I'm just gonna chop it back like that or something, and then we'll be good to go. Exhaust took way longer than expected, but it's got a bit of a taper on it now. Best I could do with a grinder, so that's good. Now it's time to tackle this wiring loom. We need to cut the plug off and put in the new lights. So on the bar, we've got the big reverse light here, and then you've got your blinker and brake light on the other side. Same on this side. So what I'm planning on doing is joining the two brake lights together. Then I'll pop out this tail light here. I think it's just 3 bolts inside. It's a bit hard to get to because I got all my drawers in here and whatnot, but 3 bolts in there. Take that out, rear tail light pops out, and then once I've joined this to this light, I'll run it up into that little cavity there. So just finished up this little patch loom here. So I've got it coming from that reverse light going through, and it's linking up to this reverse light, and then from this reverse light I got a little bit of a junction, and that's going to this bit, which will end up going onto that plug there. So the next thing I have to do is sort out this little plug here, but on the instructions it's just got to chop this off and then match the colours to these colours here. So this is kind of funny, so I won't leave this out the video, even though it's going to make me seem really stupid. So I started by wiring this left hand side, and for whatever reason, when I would put on the indicator, the brake would flash, so the red light would flash, and then when I press the brake pedal, the yellow light would go. So I had something backwards. Honestly, switched these wires around like a million times. Couldn't get it right. I didn't know what was going on. Anyways, I've done the other side, got it first go, so the brake light's on, got my little stick holding the brake pedal, and got the blinker on, so that's sweet. What I've realised I've done is, on this side, I've chopped the plug off the actual back of the light, whereas on this side, you see I've chopped the plug before the plug on the back of the light. And this is what's happening, which is pretty funny. So that side's obviously right because the indicator's orange and that's flashing, while the brake light is flashing here, and the what's supposed to be the indicator is the brake light. So just use some house wiring just to test fit it. I'm glad I did before I soldered it, otherwise that would have been wrong. So I'm gonna have to fix it up now to make it the same as that side. Switched the wires around, got it working mint. What a dickhead. It's been raining a bit, but we've been trekking on, and you can see now that I've done the wiring. Well, nearly done all of it. So after I soldered and heat shrinked the blinkers and brake lights, I've also taped them off, and then I've ran the reverse light that we made before, the wire for that, into the grommet that goes onto here and then comes out through there. I just got to put the bar on because I don't have enough wire, just needs to get a little bit closer. And then on this side, just done the same thing after I soldered it and heat shrinked it, just taped it up, and that's actually still got a plug on it, unlike the other side that I chopped off by accident. So now we are ready to lift this bar up, and I think I'm just going to secure it at that point for now so I can tuck away the wiring and finish off that corner, and then we'll get on to putting the wings on. So I've gone for a test fit and realised I actually have to take these brackets off with those bolts on the side, because otherwise these little wings hit it. So get them off both sides, and then I'll try again locking it onto there and then doing those bolts. So it has been raining a lot and I've been getting soaked. That's why the car's pushed so far back into the garage. But I've tightened everything up. I've put on the wing braces. I've just came across two problems. So the first problem on this side is this wing brace. That was a bloody pain to get in. The problem being is it actually touches the exhaust right there. So I don't really want to modify the bracket, so I might try and have to space the exhaust out a little bit just to push it away from it. But that's kind of annoying that it doesn't fit for a 3-inch exhaust, because I imagine most Patrols have a 3-inch exhaust. Not the standard one, but what can you do? And then on the other side, this wing brace sits exactly where my remote res was, up there. So I'm going to have to either move it forward a bit, or I might have to end up actually putting it on the bore of the shock. I'm not too sure yet. But at least it's in now and everything's tight. And I just put on the trailer plug and Anderson plug and tucked all the wiring up. It was good I could actually mount the trailer plug and the Anderson plug on the actual bar, because as you can see where it was before, pretty sure that bracket's supposed to be straight. It's pretty on the piss. But yeah, I was just smashing everything so it's heaps better up there. And just like that, the mud flaps are done. So we'll get on to doing the actual wheel carrier. I know I probably got shit all over my face, but I've gone ahead and gone with a single wheel carrier just to get that weight off the door. I would have gone the dual jerrys, but honestly I just couldn't afford it. So that maybe will be something down the track, because I know they do like modular systems where you can buy stuff after and mix and match and whatnot. So yeah, I've just gone with the wheel carrier for now. And there it is right there. So I've got a little bearing kit somewhere floating around over there, so I'm just gonna have to grease up the bearings, whack it on that, and then drop my little carrier on. I've greased up my bearings, got all the seals and dust cap and all that kind of stuff ready. Got the swing away here, just put a little bit of grease inside where the bearing's gonna run, and then just a little bit on that stub axle. So what I have to do now, according to the instructions, is drop the bearings into that with a dust seal, just like that, and then drop that whole thing onto the bar and then secure it with all this stuff. So we'll give her a go. Kind of funny that I don't actually have a socket that's that big, so I've got a decent sized shifter and I'll use that to get it on. And hopefully that's it. Tell you what, this gas strut's got some oomph to it, like you can really feel it. It's a bit of a struggle to push it in. I ended up backing that castle nut off just a little bit to split the, to fit that split pin in, just because I think I tightened it a little bit too much and then it was too hard to pull the arm in kind of thing. So that's all done now, and then we'll work on this top section here, getting the mount in for the actual wheel. Actually I lied, so before we start assembling this, I need to put this latch on. Now this is a nice bit of kit. Out of the whole bar, this feels really nice. It must be like a billet handle or something. So that'll sit on here, something like that. And then I'll be able to lock that in and then start putting the wheel carrier together. And the latch is on. That feels really nice. And it shuts well as well. So no shakes, nothing. So hopefully that shouldn't vibrate and make bloody noise, because that would be absolutely annoying as hell. So I've just fitted on this little wheel piece here. Now what I have to do is sort out how far away basically the tyre is going to sit. So when it sits on the studs, they want 15 mil of crush from the tyre sitting on this plate to this back plate. So I'm just going to go and measure my tyre over there and see the depth going in, and then I'll set this to that minus 15 mil. So I'm trying my best to show you guys this. Bit of a tight squeeze. But I'll put this on the back of the rim, and from my angle it's about 150, give or take a little bit. I've put the wheel on there. I'm gonna have to adjust that thing a little bit. I think I just need to move it the tiniest bit back. Apart from that, it looks bloody good. So it's gonna be a bit hard to see in the dark, but I've just marked where the panel's gonna sit basically. Same thing on this side, so it's 20 mil away from the stopper on the arm. This checkered panel is just going to cover this. I was going to bolt it on, but underneath you basically can't get to the bolts. So I think I'm just going to use some Sikaflex, stick it on there, and then start tackling this little gap we've got going around the side there. I could have swore that I bought the black Sikaflex, but somehow I've got white. It's the same shit though. So everywhere, good to go. With this pinch weld, I honestly thought it was going to like stand up so it would cover this gap a little bit, but from the videos that I've looked at, it just actually goes in between here. So yeah, I've got about a 25 mil gap. That's as much as I could adjust it. I couldn't get it any shorter than that. It's honestly not too bad. I'd like a little bit closer, but I know the whole point of it is because one's the body and then one's the chassis. So when you go over corrugations and stuff and whatnot, but pretty bloody happy with how it all turned out. I guess this is just a sneak peek at night. Put the wheel bag back on, and yeah, I'll show you guys during the day. But we aren't done quite yet, and that's because I knew putting the rear bar on, the extra weight, and because it's moving it a bit more behind where it was before, the rear is going to sag. When I put these springs in, they're 2-inch no load. I had no drawers and no rear bar. So that's why I've gone ahead and ordered actually 3-inch no load springs, which is the equivalent to a 2-inch, I think it was with 200 kilos or 250 or something like that. It's literally exactly the same part number, which is good. So that's the next thing I'll be doing right now, is chucking those 3-inch springs in. Righto, so old spring is out, ready to put the new one in. I know this looks a bit dodgy, but because my driveway is not flat, I've had to jack up the front and do it on the road, and then I just put the diff on the lowest setting of the axle stand, and then just jack the body up with a couple pieces of wood. But plenty of room to get it out, because I'm going to need as much height as I can get because I have to put the 3-inch spring in. These are the springs side by side. Obviously this one's taller because that's the 3-inch spring, but this was a C45 129, so that's for Series 4 GU plus with no load, and it's a 2-inch spring. This is a C45 329, so it's actually a 2-inch spring that's rated for I think 200 and 250 kilos. And then it's the same part number as a 3-inch spring with no load. So once I have the weight of the rear bar and the drawers in the back and fuel and all that, this will sag down to a 2-inch. So it's still legal because they're exactly the same part number, which is good. Just like that, the springs are in both sides. Ended up having to use my crowbar to get it in a little bit, but it's in there now. So all I have to do is the shocks back up, sway bar, and I'm gonna put the coil retainers in, even though my shocks probably aren't long enough to drop out a 3-inch spring. We're going to put them in anyway, so let's get to it. So this is the final look at the bar. To say I'm happy is an understatement. This is just exactly how I thought it would turn out. I think it looks so bloody good. Even though I didn't get the other swing away, because you know, we're on a budget around here. Just with the single spare wheel, it looks so good. I think the Raslaar bars fit the Series 4 Patrols really well, and couldn't be happier with how mine's turned out. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.